Peace, everyone. My name is T. Luna Imhotep, and I am the co-founder of Asase Duru Holistic Wellness and also the founder of Fruits of Mother Earth Holistic Birth Support. Um, I'm a I have a master's in divinity. I am a certified naturopathic clinician. I'm also a trained doula in a holistic doula in the Southern tradition. I am also a um, emotional wellness facilitator, and I will be using all these skills and also just being a human being on this earth. To present to you about resilience, how to stay on purpose during uncertain times. So I will be also working um, through a live WhatsApp presentation, and so um, I will be doing that at the same time. And so, yeah, so we will be doing dual work together. All right, everyone, welcome. And I hope this presentation finds everyone in a sense of health, wellness, and peace today. And I am grateful to be here with you all. And we will begin the presentation through voice messages. So once everyone is centered in this place, I'd like you to sit and take a deep breath and get ready for 4 pretty brief points that I will be elaborating on today. So the first thing I will be speaking about is my point number 1. Planning is great, but there is also life. Now, we've gone through life hearing the saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. But wait, I've lost my, you name it, job, loved one or loved ones, health, legs, arms, sight, my mind. I've lost my house, I've lost my car, I've lost my marriage, and so on because life happens. Researcher and renowned grief therapist Dr. Ken Doka coined the term disenfranchised grief as grief that persons experience when they incur a loss that is not or cannot be openly acknowledged, socially sanctioned, or publicly mourned. The types of loss that I've expressed previously are these such losses that we wouldn't necessarily post on our Facebook or our Instagram and be that transparent about this extreme loss that people experience every single day. One thing is different these days is that social media, we are seeing an influx of people being extremely vulnerable and transparent to their audience, and it may or may not be received well. So we want to be here and we want to affirm that life happens. Life is filled with losses, and we are here to overcome them. And so I just want to share with you a few of my personal life lessons that I've experienced. And so a major loss, one of my first major memories of loss is between the ages of 7 and 14. And at that age, I've had experiences of loss such as my father leaving home. We had to move a lot. I went to 3 different middle schools in 3 different states in 3 years. And so it caused that type of uncertainty and instability caused a major fear of insecurity in my life. So I tried to plan every single thing that I possibly could. What high school I was going to, that I was going to be the best at this so I could get the best grades, so I could get in the best school, so I would never have to experience such instability ever again. Needless to say, none of what I planned happened. Another loss that I experienced later in life during the years, my early college years, is a loss of a very close loved one. My best friend passed when I was 19, and also I lost two very close cousins within the same year or so. And so it really shook me and distracted my attention during my freshman year of college, and my grades reflected that. Also, around the age of 20, I experienced what I call a loss of self, where I experienced date rape, and I had to go into counseling. My mother put me in, told me to go to counseling because she knew that this would have an impact on my life, and she wanted to be a part of that change, and I'm so grateful for that. So the same experience happened. I looked back at my transcript recently, and I saw those dips in my grades, and I was like, oh man, those were the things that were happening in my life, and my grades and my personal life reflected these type of losses, such as social life. I didn't go out much. I was extremely depressed and all of this, and I didn't tell anyone what was going on, and I really felt like I couldn't talk. I spoke to a few people, but overall I didn't tell, like, the large population of my friends and social groups, right? And then also more recently in my life, a loss of relationships. So between the age of 28 and 29, I lost very important and close relationships to me due to a personal health crisis. And I just never thought I'd have to live without these people in my life, namely a marriage and some close friends and some close family. And those types of losses, again, we just don't talk about on social media. We don't talk about. And so I want to be honest and transparent with you all during this time. So above all else, I want you to remember that everything happens for a reason. And this reason is often bigger than us in the moment. We have no idea why things happen. And at the end of the day, they become a part of your testimony and strengthen your personal resilience and faith. When we're able to come out of these situations on the other end of them, we're able to see ourselves through them through faith and resilience, and pick ourselves up, or lean on someone to help us get up one more time. Then it's how many times we get back up, not how many times we fall down. Point number 2 is have your purpose as your main goal, and all other steps are there to help you reach your purpose. So the best advice that I've ever received happened a few years ago by a wonderful mentor of mine. She told me to be rooted in purpose at a time where I was just totally discombobulated. Again, I was experiencing a health crisis. People were leaving my life left and right. Things were out of my control, and I just didn't know what to do. And as I sit there crying, she said, you must be rooted in purpose, because life is not always predictable. But when you're rooted in purpose, you'll know how to reach that no matter what. And that was just the best advice I ever gotten. And I share that with people every single opportunity that I get. And so I'm sharing it with you. So I want you to have this image in your head. I cannot separate myself from a tree. Trees speak to me. They tell me so many things about life, trees and plants. And so a tree has deep roots, most of which we do not see. So when the leaves fall, we think, oh, poor naked tree. But this tree knows that not even the changing of seasons can take it out. So remember that, and one thing that comes to mind is songs dealing with seasons changing, and the song Turn by the Birds, which is actually from the book of Ecclesiastes, where it talks about there's a time to heal, a time to mourn, a time to cry, a time for joy. Life is about cycles and seasons, and we're just here to experience them. And they're really not meant to take us out. They're really meant to strengthen us through those times of uncertainty. And when you're rooted in purpose, your purpose is the goal, regardless of the journey, right? So I want to leave you with this. The journey is not the destination. How you get there is not the end all be all of where you're meant to go. But the destination, where you end up, what your bigger purpose is worth the journey. And I know that can be hard, especially when we're going through such trying times. But I really want to emphasize that. And I want you to remember that the world needs you to live your purpose. So, whatever you have to get through in order to get to your purpose and to live that out every single day, the world needs that. It needs you and your unique purpose. So, remember that as you go through life and as you transition through uncertain times. My third step is, even if your career or circumstances change, your purpose will guide you. So we're at a time, especially as millennials and anyone coming after millennials, the next generation after millennials, we're at a time where we're not having lifelong careers like they once did in the past. We're not becoming doctors not doctors. I'm sorry. We're not becoming teachers at 24 right out of college and being teachers until 65. We're not staying in one career until the end of retirement. We're often living this life of being multifaceted and living out multiple passions at once. And it's a beautiful thing. And so you want to remember that you may have a resume that has 5 jobs in 10 years, and that's okay. It doesn't say that you don't have inconsistency or that you're inconsistent or that you're unstable or anything like that. It just means that you have multiple interests and multiple talents, and what you're doing is building you up and strengthening you and giving you new skills, right? And so we want to remember that, especially in the time of, as I mentioned before, dealing with loss and grief and life, because remember, life and loss often go hand in hand. We are here to experience life, not prevent loss. That is impossible. So when life, your career, and the world changes, as it often and will always do, your purpose will guide you through the darkest nights of the soul and be the light at the end of the tunnel. So you're like, okay, well, this tunnel is pretty dark, but remember that even when we get out of the tunnel, because when we're going through the dark night of the soul and in the tunnel of the darkness, in the wilderness, we're often like, I just want to get through this. But you have to remember that after that tunnel, you still have a journey to take. And the tunnel is not the end. It's only an obstacle. The wilderness is not the end of your life. It's just an obstacle. It's just a life lesson that you have to overcome in order to reach your unique purpose. So you must remember that your purpose will guide you. It will motivate you and keep you grounded throughout trials and tribulations of life, including uncertainty and career upheaval and certain circumstances. So it really strengthens you and allows you to be resilient when your purpose is your main goal. So for example, if you know that you are here to help young boys who don't have fathers, and you want to be a mentor to young boys who don't have fathers, then but right now you're working at, as an engineer, right? And you're like, okay, I'm working as an engineer and it makes me good money, but I really feel passionate about creating a mentorship for young boys who are fatherless and they need men to model after. Remember that it's okay to, one, keep what you're doing and do what you do in order to make money, but two, to have a separate interest that will strengthen your purpose, because that purpose is what you're here for, right? The engineer makes you money. You do great. You're intelligent. You're smart. You're doing your thing. But that bigger purpose, those young boys are waiting for you to be the light in their lives that you may have needed and that they desperately need. So remember, the tunnel, getting through your personal life circumstance, is the obstacle, but the purpose is bigger than it all. Okay, and finally, my last point is that number 4, align yourself with a career business, organization which shares the same values and morals as you do. Throughout the history and herstory of mankind, we've always experienced cycles and national and social upheaval, shutdowns, and tragedies. They have always and will continue to happen. And so, as we see now, we may not always be socially prepared or globally prepared for something to happen. And so, sometimes people have to leave their job because they are caregivers to their children or an elderly parent or a differently abled family member or child, or even themselves have um, have certain abilities or inabilities or immune deficiencies or anything going on in their personal life that may cause them, such as we're seeing right now, to have to step back because they can't be exposed to certain things because it puts their life or someone else's life at risk, right? So you want to be aligned with a career or an organization or a business that remembers first and foremost that you are a human being and not a robot. You are not a machine. You are not meant to just keep going without respect being given to the fact that you too have life happening every single day. And so it's important to be in alignment with that. It's important to know, what are your values and morals? Do you value being a good parent or a good daughter, a good son, a good partner, a good person to yourself, right? If you value your health, you will not be in a job that says it doesn't matter if you put yourself at risk. Or remember this also, that if you feel aligned with being on the forefront of helping people, regardless of the risk, you want to feel secure in that decision that you make. You don't want to say, well, I'm doing this in order to get a check. You want to feel so passionate about what you're doing that you're doing it because you know that that is a part of your purpose. So the question I want to pose to you is, does your job or career reflect what impact you are meant to make in the world? That's what I'm saying. Does it really impact reflect what you're here to do? So if you are here to help less fortunate people and you're willing to risk it all because you know that's your purpose, you know that's why you wake up every single day, then continue to do that. But if you feel like you're here just to get a check, then it may not be worth it. And that's definitely something that this time you should be reflecting on. Does your job impose on your responsibilities and obligations to your family and to yourself? Is it something that you really should reconsider you when you think about getting up every single day and you have and no matter what's going on in your life. And so you want to know that your employer or your business that you personally do, if you're self-employed, is putting your experience as a human and others' experiences as human beings first and foremost. And you really want to ask yourself this: are you taking this time to reflect on which wheel you've been on? Like, have you been on the rat race wheel or have you been on the wheel of life? Has it just been what you've done to pay bills, or are you doing something that sets your soul on fire? Because when you reflect on that, it really allows you to know what you hold dear, and not even just in times of like we're going through currently, but also just in life. If you value being a parent, but your job takes like you're working 60 hours a week and you're not able to be the best parent that you know that your child or children need from you, then it might be time to reflect on that, because no amount of money is worth not being there and living out your purpose and being what you want to be for your family. So finally, I want to leave you all. Thank you for, first and foremost, thank you so much for the time that you've spent being here and getting this information. And I really hope and pray that everything is timely for you in this moment. And I want to leave with you my life's mantra that came to me during the most darkest times of my life. I roll with the waves. I am not overcome by them. So when life starts to really become overwhelming, I really want to implore you and invite you to take a deep breath, exhale. I roll with the waves. I am not overcome by them. Finally, at the end of this, if you're still saying, well, T, this is all great, but clearly my specific purpose is still confusing. I really don't know. I've been living for what, people said that this is the best thing for me to do in order to make money, or I've done everything that my parents wanted me to do, or that my partner wanted me to do. If you're still feeling helpless and hopeless, I really want you, and you don't really know where to start, please feel free to join us at AYD Holistic Mondays, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, for our Purpose Mastery series. It's free. It's on Instagram at AYD Holistic, or Facebook at Asase Duru Holistic Wellness. And we'll share this information with you to teach you clear steps on finding your unique purpose to make life worth living, especially in a time where you just are uncertain. You might as well live a life that is yours. And so if you have any questions on how you can work with us further, you can schedule a one-on-one consultation, and you can schedule a free consultation, or you can schedule a purpose astrology reading with me. And all this information will be left with you after the presentation. So thank you so much for your time and your attention. And I wish you all peace, love, and bliss.